From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
While still recovering from yesterday's attack, members of Congress say the game must go on. How both sides of the aisle are still coming together to play ball.
There are many ways that we can move back to civil discourse.
Plus, the National Center for Civil Discourse tells us what they hope the country can take away from this tragic incident.
It's considered the spelling bee for history buffs, what one student is doing to represent Arizona in the National History Day competition.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Annika Walters.
And I'm Tyler Paley. Thanks for joining us. Washington tonight is still grappling with the early morning shooting spree yesterday that left 5 people injured, including a Louisiana congressman. The suspected gunman is dead. That attack came as Republican members of Congress were practicing for their annual charity baseball game against Democrats. Cronkite News reporter Noelle Lilly was at the scene of the shooting yesterday, and today she brings us the latest and somewhat more upbeat developments in that story.
Arizona Senator Jeff Flake was one of the lawmakers on the field when the shooting started. It was a day that he describes as the longest of his life. Confusion swirled around Washington in the aftermath of yesterday's shooting. But there was one thing that was certain. The game was still on.
This is one of the best bipartisan institutions in Congress. It's just it's something
underway,
that
with the first
brings us
pitch being
together more than just. And to not play a game like that after the incident that was so horrific yesterday would just be wrong.
Each year, the Republicans and the Democrats play against each other. In 2016, the Republicans won for the first time since 2009.
The first ever congressional baseball game took place in 1909, but this year it'll happen right here at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C.
Senator Flake said that despite the sadness, yesterday's shooting brought Congress together.
This was going on at the Republican practice. As soon as the Democrats heard at their practice what was going on at ours, they stopped it all and gathered and prayed. And, people need to know that things like that happen.
Flake said he hopes to see this newfound unity continue.
An attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. And I hope if we can have a more unifying message, one that lasts.
The game is currently underway with the first pitch being thrown at 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Live in Washington, Noelle Lilly, Cronkite News.
FBI officials say they're looking to learn more about the shooter at yesterday's congressional baseball practice. Authorities have identified the shooter as James Hodgkinson, a 66-year-old man from Illinois. The FBI says Hodgkinson has been in Alexandria since March.
The FBI has issued, again, seeking information poster that is located on our website, asking the public to come forward with information on the shooter.
Hodgkinson died yesterday at the hospital after being shot by Capitol Police at the scene. House Majority Whip Steve Scalise and lobbyist Matt Micah are both in critical condition. The other victims have been released from the hospital.
Yesterday's shooting elevated political tensions that are leaving many people worried. In Tucson, the National Institute for Civil Discourse was established after a similar event in 2011 when Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords was shot in the head. Officials at the Institute hope yesterday's incident will serve as a wake-up call.
I'm hoping that this is sort of a time for a reset. And this is not a road we want to go down. This is not a road any democracy would want to go down, because I'm not sure you come back from it.
And ASU professor Dawn Gilpin tells us how online discourse can widen the divides that lead to events like this.
I don't see how we can bridge the partisan divides and cultural divides that right now are creating all of these tensions that lead to incidents like what happened today.
Dr. Gilpin says it's worrisome that online media is not being used to bridge partisan and cultural divides.
Senator John McCain held a virtual town hall meeting today on Facebook Live. Several people called on McCain in the comments to retire after his confusing questions for James Comey last week. But viewers repeatedly asked McCain about his view on Russia amidst the investigations.
Look, we had the Bush administration, we had the Clinton administration, We had the Obama administration where they all decided we would all cozy up to the Russians and we would all get along and cooperate, blah, blah, blah. And it never worked, and it hasn't worked, and it won't work.
Judge rejected former Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio's request for regarding his case. Arpaio wanted to bar prosecutors from mentioning that he had already acknowledged committing civil contempt of court. Arpaio is scheduled for trial on a criminal contempt charge for defying a judge's order. The case has been following Arpaio since his time as sheriff. The case comes from his policies that a judge determined to be racial profiling.
An Arizona official is joining President Trump's administration as the chief of operations at the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Henry Darwin will finish serving as the chief operations officer for Governor Doug Ducey on June 30th. Ducey has praised him for his work in making the state's government more efficient and responsive. Darwin has previous experience running the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality from 2011 to 2015.
For students who enjoy spelling, there is the Scripps National Spelling Bee. For students who enjoy geography, there is the National Geographic Bee. And for those students who enjoy learning about history, the National History Day competition is the contest to participate in. Our Washington Bureau reporter Alex Valdez introduces us to the Arizona student who made that journey.
For her first National History Day project, Flagstaff 7th grader Joy Kim didn't have to go too far back in history. Kim and her partner, Alla Dunnard, produced a 10-minute documentary about Malala Yousafzai, the Pakistani girl who won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2014.
We did a background story at first about her life before certain events took place. We also talked about a lot of her speeches and awards and quotes because that's who she is.
A process that took months of research and preparation.
We had to find 4 primary sources and 4 secondary sources. And in the end, our bibliography had over 4,000 words and about like 80 citations.
The National History Day contest encourages more than 500,000 students to conduct their own historical research on a topic of their choice. Chosen students like Joy then present their research to judges here at the University of Maryland. The organization said its goal is to challenge students to take an interest in history.
The focus and emphasis is promoting and increasing the teaching and learning of history in primary and secondary education.
Kim was among an estimate of 100 students from Arizona who competed at the National History Day competition. Despite not making it to the final round, Kim says it was an honor to be at the competition.
I wasn't really sad in any way because we worked really hard on this, and it's just a really great accomplishment to be here right now because we did not think we'd get this far.
Reporting in Washington, I'm Alex Valdez, Cronkite News.
The finals for National History Day are this evening. The winner of the competition will receive a fully paid round-trip plane ticket to Ireland.
Governor Doug Ducey awarded 31 schools in Arizona with a grant to protect the state's youth. The funding came through the high school health and wellness program and is part of Ducey's efforts to effectively educate Arizona high schoolers and prevent alcohol and drug use. Awarded schools will implement prevention programs to ensure every child in the school receives information pertaining to alcohol and drug safety.
Making the transition from law enforcement to civilian life.
Coming up on Cronkite News, how canine cops are learning how to be house pets after serving on the force.
And how Valley residents are paying it forward by helping others stay hydrated this summer.
I'm Scott Belly, anchor and managing editor of the CBS Evening News. In our changing media landscape, it is crucial for journalism education to ensure a commitment to the truth, unbiased reporting, strong ethics, unwavering fairness, and above all else, accuracy. These are the hallmarks of ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. It's a place where students can innovate and transform the news industry while always upholding the values of the school's namesake. The Cronkite School at ASU, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
Discover so much more at azpbs.org/schedule, where it's easier than ever to find out what's on Arizona PBS. Access interactive digital and printable program guides, repeat times, and full episode descriptions. Watch program previews of best bets for the coming week. Search by title to find your favorite shows. You can even add programs to your calendar and get email reminders when they're about to start. It's easier than ever to find out what's on Arizona PBS. Discover so much more at azpbs.org/schedule. When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us online.
He is a retiring law enforcement officer. He's helped with hundreds of arrests, SWAT team operations, and special investigation cases. But as Cronkite News reporter Patricio Espinosa shows us, this officer is not of a humankind.
He is definitely not human. He is a highly trained law enforcement canine who, after years of service, has truly earned a new life. Meet Sergeant Vasco, a 9-year-old Maricopa County Sheriff's canine. At about 75 pounds, Vasco is what one may call a highly trained law enforcement machine. He detected drugs, taking dangerous narcotics off the streets. But Vasco has come to the end of his career, and it is time for retirement. But how does he become a house pet after being a police dog?
The biggest, I think, misconception with the working canine dogs is that they're all very mean and they just want to go out and bite people.
The dogs are trained to treat chasing a suspect like playing on command, and communication between the two is key.
He's usually telling me what to do as far as dog stuff because he knows what he can do and what he can't do.
Vasco's fate lies in the hands of the Board of Supervisors. A unanimous vote is needed to transfer ownership from the county to his handler. Clancy agreed to adopt him and help transition Vasco to civilian life, and the board approved.
And not every day one is so lucky to be able to pet a beautiful law enforcement service animal. Yet after 9 years of service, Vasco finally gets to go home, retired, and enjoy life.
Oh, there you go.
But as a canine officer, Vasco was kept in a kennel and outdoors most of the time. So coming into Clancy's home and around his family is a new experience.
Kind of like having an 8-year-old puppy because he's got really no house etiquette. Not that he's not housebroken, but he likes, he's getting into the garbage and looking through stuff like that, smelling food on the counter.
So Sergeant Vasco is getting in trouble at home.
Yes, he is.
And this year, 3 canines have retired in Maricopa County, 2 due to age and 1 after being injured on the line of duty. As far as Sergeant Vasco, his new family reports tonight he's doing quite well, enjoying his golden years. In the Broadcast Center, Patricio Espinosa, Cronkite News.
While Sergeant Vasco now gets to go inside and enjoy the air conditioning, some Arizona residents are less fortunate. With a forecast of 120 degrees next week, one Phoenix organization is working to prevent heat-related deaths. How can it do that? Well, it starts with you and me. Temperatures near 100 degrees, even after dark. It's a mere inconvenience for those in air-conditioned homes, but the summer heat causes major issues for the homeless population.
We are trying to end people's homelessness, and that's a community-wide effort.
Nicole Pena and the Phoenix Rescue Mission just started their 5th annual Code Red campaign. It's an effort to get donations of cases of water bottles. Then the mission hits the streets and supplies the homeless with a couple of bottles of H2O. It quenches their thirst and very possibly saves their lives.
Just homeless people, we were seeing that double-digit number, and in the last couple of years, it's been single digits for homeless people in Metro Phoenix.
The ultimate icebreaker is having a cold bottle of water on a hot day, so right away they know I have their best interest in mind.
It's a community-wide effort to get the cases of water donated. That's why the mission has partnered with local businesses as drop-off spots, such as Match Restaurant, just north of downtown Phoenix.
Just to give back to the community, whatever we can do for the homeless or for people that are in need of water is definitely something that we want to be a part of.
For the businesses, it's a sense of community service when they participate in this campaign. And for the public, well, they have the potential with one case of water to save multiple lives.
People are going to donate water anyway, and we see that. Incentivizing it kind of gives it an urgency. So people go, oh, I need to do that now.
It's just that everybody's everybody's invested in helping help people, get to the mission and get to some services.
And at the end of the day, it's saving lives.
It's hard work. We have to be out there every day with the bottles of water, but it's reducing deaths significantly.
You can find out more about the incentives and an interactive map of the drop-off points around the valley online at phoenixrescuemission.org. Well, this Father's Day, one son is looking to follow in his father's footsteps.
Coming up on Cronkite News, how this father-son duo is leaving a mark on the Phoenix Suns.
We're headed into a heat wave this weekend. What to expect? Coming up.
I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life now. All my dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now. Right about now.
Officially from 36, and he hooks it in. Arizona State wins. Keeping one deep, and it is caught. Jalen Strong. Do you believe it?
An update on the wildfire we've been tracking all week. Authorities say they're ready to start scaling back resources on the major wildfire burning in Cochise County. At this time, the fire is just over 60% contained. Up north in Payson, crews are working on another fire that started this past weekend. A pre-evacuation notice is in effect for Bonita Creek Canyon residents.
While all eyes are on next week's excessive heat, the monsoon season officially kicks off today. We're continuing our coverage from earlier this week. Cronkite News' Tyler Fingert is live in downtown Phoenix with how one of the valley's power companies is preparing for the storms.
APS prepares all year for the monsoon, which starts today and runs through the end of September. And like every season, there's concern about power outages and because of the high winds. When that happens, APS says their goal is to get the power back on as quickly as possible. But to keep in mind, it does take time. APS says part of that preparation means getting repair supplies staged around the state.
This is really what we're here to do, is serve our customers through the toughest season, and for us that's the combination of high temperatures with unexpected monsoon storms through the summer.
Monsoon and outages is essential. APS recommends planning ahead by creating emergency kits with things like flashlights, food, and water. They also say it's best if you stay away from down power lines because they could be energized. And if you spot one, to call 911 and then APS. And finally, they say staying informed is important. As for the high temperatures we're expecting next week, APS says that they don't expect any major service disruptions. Live in downtown Phoenix, Tyler Fingert, Cronkite News.
Here in the valley, it's always one extreme or the other. If it's not raging monsoons, it's high heat. Madison Connor tells us what to look forward to next week.
Now, it may be monsoon season, but I wouldn't expect storms anytime soon. We are currently sitting at a very sunny 104, and then the high today is actually 107. So we're not there yet, but we do have time. Now, it's a little bit warmer than what we're typically used to around now, but we're well under the record of 115 that was made in 1974. Now, looking at temperatures across the state, it varies from 86 in Show Low to 106 in Lake Havasu and in Yuma. And then zooming in to see those temperatures in the valley, we see plenty of triple digits. The hottest area being Goodyear and Laveen at 105. Now, unfortunately for you dads out there, we are going to hit 115 on Father's Day, and it only gets warmer from there. We are expected to hit record highs on Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday being 120, which is just under the record high of Arizona, that is 122. I'm Madison Connor, Cronkite Weather.
Let's talk about a different kind of sun, the Phoenix Suns. One of Arizona's own went from the Reese's All-Star game during Final Four weekend in Glendale to a pre-draft workout with the Suns. I spoke with him about carrying on his father's legacy. After a standout high school basketball career at Phoenix's Brophy Prep and being named two-time Patriot League Player of the Year at Lehigh University, Tim Kempton Jr. is trying to follow in his father's footsteps after working out for the Suns last week in advance of the June 22nd NBA draft.
I mean, the franchise means a whole lot to me. I mean, my dad played on, what do you want to call the glory days of the Phoenix Suns when they made their run. And to now be able to kind of see the transition that they're making and rebuilding their team and to be able to make that run again. To even think that I could be a part of that is another amazing experience.
Kempton Jr.'s father, Tim Kempton Sr., went to the NBA Finals with the Suns in 1993 and is now the team's radio color commentator.
It was definitely fun seeing him down on that practice court. We've been down there a lot since he's been home, working out, he and I by ourselves, so it was a lot of fun to see him work out.
Following his pre-draft workout with the Suns, Kempton Jr. told me there's something in the Valley he must do before he leaves.
Arizona people don't go see the Grand Canyon, so I've been seeing the Grand Canyon since I was born, living out here all my days, but crossing this off the list was a big one.
While Kempton Jr. hopes to hear his name called on the draft night, he knows free agency is also a possibility. Kempton Jr. averaged 20 points and 10 rebounds per game while at Lehigh University.
Another Arizona team is working to raise awareness of an all too common disease. Coming up on Cronkite News, how the D-backs are working to strike out cancer.
Heaven knows you're a dreamer. Don't hide it from anyone. Don't hide it from anyone. Hey, would you believe me if I said we are here for a reason now? This is our life. This is what counts. This is for us. I will go anywhere for you.
The Prostate Cancer Foundation teamed up with Major League Baseball to bring the 2017 Home Run Challenge. Reporter Kyle Wilcox find out how, together, they're raising awareness.
According to the American Cancer Society, about 1 in 7 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer, and about 1 in 39 men will die from it. I caught up with the PCF's founder, Michael Milken, to find out why raising awareness is so important.
The D-backs and Padres are proud to welcome Michael Milken.
Michael Milken was only 45 years old when he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. He was told that he only had about 18 months to live. That was in 1993. Today, Milken is alive and well, and he is the founder of the Prostate Cancer Foundation. One way his foundation found to spread awareness of the cancer was through baseball. Their motto, keep dad in the game.
Go out to the game, and concept was keep dad in the game. Go out with your dad, your grandfather, your uncle, your coworker, your buddy, and remind him to get tested for prostate cancer.
Milken's foundation and the MLB created the Home Run Challenge, which allows fans to donate money each time a home run is hit from June 1st to June 18th. All the donations go towards funding research. One fan of the home run challenge is Arizona Diamondbacks president and CEO Derek Hall. He too was diagnosed with prostate cancer in his 40s.
It's always shocking when you're first diagnosed with cancer. It was a shock for our family. Fortunately, I had a big enough, family and resource around me.
Like Milken, Hall decided to become a proponent to prostate cancer awareness. He pushes for early testing in all men, especially with Father's Day nearing.
You're often going to hear, wait till you're 50 and go in to get tested. Well, in my case, I was diagnosed when I was 42. Michael Milken tonight talked about being 45. So it can happen at any age, and the most important thing is to get a marker, and that's why Father's Day, that's why the Home Run Challenge really delivers that message.
Dr. Alan Bryce, an oncologist here at the Mayo Clinic, discussed the best way to try to combat the cancer.
Until we develop something to prevent it, the most important thing to do as a next step is to find it early and treat it early before it gets out of hand.
Prostate cancer is a serious issue, but there is hope. The 5-year survival rate for those diagnosed with prostate cancer is 99%, according to the American Cancer Society.
In addition to fan donations, all proceeds from the special Father's Day baseball jerseys with blue lettering will go toward medical research. In the broadcast center, Kyle Wilcox, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, the monsoon officially starts with big-time heat, a prelude to big-time storms. And we'll see how Arizona bees are headed to California to help out with crops. That's the next Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next NewsHour, a look at a government foreign investment program that's under the microscope because of its results and potential use by the Trump family. That's Thursday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.